Oh, it's live, pal.
Sorry.
We will ban you from the Summerfest.
Right here in the Silverdome.
Jeff Harvey.
And I have half the brain that you do.
Welcome to the Wrestle Hunks Podcast, a podcast where three hunks get together and discuss some of the very worst things you can find on the WWE Network, and the only podcast that I didn't insert a funny little line here, so the only podcast that enjoys Nelson Mandela or Graham Smith. Insert South African reference here. I'm your host, the Mackay and Teeny of microphone, Brandon Marlow, and as always, I'm joined by the Herschel Gibbs, Brody Price.
I wasn't expecting that. Yeah.
I'm just going on the fly here, using my extensive mid-2000s South African cricket knowledge.
That's good shit. I appreciate that.
And the guy that was once featured on the South African coverage of South Africa versus, was it Zimbabwe?
The Imran Tahir.
The Imran Tahir of right arm over the wicket, Nathan Marlow.
How are we?
I think I've just alienated the probably predominantly American audience who don't get cricket references.
This is for that South African guy that recommended we do this.
Yeah.
There was a South African dude who replied to our poll for this, which I wasn't expecting, but shout out to him.
I was going to remember his username and shout him out, but I have forgotten, so...
You know, people in wrestling Twitter have wacky Twitter handles. You can't never remember that stuff.
It has an underscore in it. So.
Underscore, maybe like some random numbers, like 8 and a 4.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember, but shout out to him. This is for him, this whole episode.
Well, I hope he enjoys it. I hope he shares it to all his friends in South Africa, for all the ones in Joburg and Cape Town and all the other areas of South Africa.
Justin Gabriel.
Give it to Justin Gabriel, to Adam Rose. So speaking of the poll, it was a pretty close battle this week. South African Raw from 1997 managed to win, which is probably obvious by now, but only just ahead of the Raw After Mania from 2008, which there was just a 2% gap there. I'm surprised Ric Flair's kind of retirement night didn't beat out a random Raw in South Africa, but here we are.
I'm surprised people even thought to vote for this. This is very strange, but lucky us, we get to watch this.
I think
Tamina fan wanted us to watch Backlash 2018.
Yeah, that was true. That was true. I feel like people just saw South Africa and they're like, oh, sure, that's a thing I've never heard of, but it sounds wacky.
Probably.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you boys, you probably, I'm going to assume you've never seen anything from this Raw, so I'm just going to ask, had either of you even heard about this episode of Raw before sitting down to watch this?
I had no idea they went to South Africa. I knew they'd gone to other countries, but it's definitely not South Africa. I wouldn't have guessed this.
What about you, Nat?
I've seen the Road Dogg Triple H match, and it's because it was on like a hidden gem thing. To have it that match.
There was a reason it was hidden.
Yeah. But I have heard about this Raw from old mate Brucey Pritchard, but watching it, not good.
Yeah, I'd never heard anything about this Raw until when we were deciding we were going to do this podcast. I just typed in worst episodes of Raw ever, and some cat on Reddit was like, all you people putting up recent Raws as being the worst is stupid. You've clearly never watched the Raw from South Africa. I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of crazy. And then I regret ever looking that up. So moving to the history, build-up and background here for this great event. It was obviously not live. It was taped on April 9th, 1997, which is it's a pretty good day to tape a wrestling show, if you ask me.
No.
One-year-old Brandon would have been very excited for Raw from South Africa.
I love Raw!
I was a WCW mark when I was a kid, full just in on Wolfpack Sting.
Disco Inferno.
Yeah, Disco Inferno. I was like, oh, come on, Disco Inferno, give him the push, give him the rub, work with Sting in the main event. So this would air a few days later on April 14th, And so I've got a couple of on this day in histories here. I've got one for the taped day, April 9th. So Cleveland Indians pitcher Jose Mesa is acquitted of rape. So good on you for not doing the rape.
Misha Shale. I sure.
The old flapping dicky.
That's what it's called.
In less serious news, Major League Soccer announces Miami and Chicago expansions. The NFL announces it will give $3 million to the Canadian Football League, and I think they actually float an idea of like an inter-promotional match, but I'm not sure if that actually ever gets off the ground.
Survivor Series.
Helen Hanff, author of 84 Charing Cross Road, dies at 80. It's I don't know that book. It's not Harry Potter.
That's a shame she didn't die at 84.
Yeah, oh yeah, that would have been lit. At Charing Cross Road, like gets hit by a bus. Big double-deckers.
Yeah, nice.
Anaconda was the #1 film at the box office, and Block Rocket...
I've seen that.
Have you actually?
Yeah, it's not a good movie. You should watch it, though. Yeah, it's 4.7 out of 10. Because I thought that name looked familiar. It's really badly CGI'd Anaconda.
But it's got A-Rod's fiance in it. So if you want to see A-Rod's fiance, you check out Anaconda. #1 film at the box office, April 1997.
It's got Ice Cube in it, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Owen Wilson, Danny Trejo. It's got a good cast. It's a terrible movie. Terrible movie, and it did well at the box office.
Well, on the music side of things, Block Rockin' Beats by the Chemical Brothers was the top song on the charts. Can't say I've ever heard that one, but it's a nice name.
It's not My Chemical Romance.
Block Rockin' Beats by My Chemical Romance.
Yeah, exactly.
As for April 14th, it's a bit of a shitty day. Nothing of note happened here, according to the website I used to grab the important events in history. Anaconda was still the top film. However, I Believe I Can Fly by noted sexual predator R. Kelly was now the top song on the charts.
Nice.
So we're not allowed to enjoy that song anymore because R. Kelly is a scumbag.
Okay, so April 14th, Block Rockin' Beats was still on top of the charts.
April 14th, I Believe I Can Fly by Stevie Richards was top song on the charts. So location, obviously, it was in Johannesburg, South Africa. I actually couldn't find a source on the arena this was held in.
They say it at the start.
It was like Johannesburg Arena or something really generic.
Yeah, that's what they said. Or stadium or something, Johannesburg Stadium maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was stadium.
They should have held it at one of the cricket grounds.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know any of those names, but one of them.
The good one.
The rating for this episode of Raw was pretty dismal. It was a 2.2. This was actually the exact same rating as the week before, which, I mean, read into that what you want. That the random South African Raw is doing the same as the proper Raw from the week before. We're basically still in the down period for the WWF here. We're only in the start of 1997, so the product hasn't really caught on fire just as yet. However, from the next week on, the ratings pretty much steadily rise until they obviously eventually surpass WCW again, largely thanks to Stone Cold, Bret Hart's heel turn, and basically the Attitude Era being born. And for comparison, Nitro would do a 3.5 on this night, so they're not doing monster ratings over on the other channel, but they are winning pretty solidly. WrestleMania 13 was the most recent pay-per-view before this show, and this was and probably always will be the worst buy rate for a WrestleMania in history. It managed just 237,000 buys, and again, for comparison with WCW, they held their uncensored pay-per-view a few weeks afterwards, and that actually pulled in more buys than WrestleMania. So that's...
Yikes.
Yeah, not great, especially when you look at like 237,000 and then you look at like Over the Limit 2011 would do more buys. It's like, geez, they were in strife.
Okay.
People really wanted to see Over the Limit, and they're like, WrestleMania 13, no thank you. Bret Hart and Stone Cold in a 5-star match, no thank you. Give me fucking Chris Jericho wrestling, probably Rey Mysterio. So just to have a look at WrestleMania 13 here, the card doesn't seem too bad. There's a god-awful Fatal 4-Way Elimination Tag won by the Headbangers at the start that gets minus 1.5 star from Meltzer. But besides the main event between Undertaker and Sid for the World Heavyweight Championship, which gets 1.25, all the matches here are actually pretty solid. So I guess the fans missed out on Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Goldust. 15-minute Broadway. But yeah, that's basically the build-up to this show. Obviously, we know from history, Bret Hart and Stone Cold put on a classic at WrestleMania, which essentially does a double turn there, and Bret Hart runs his anti-American gimmick after this, which is a big part of the WWF product catching on fire again. The number of dead people on this show is 7. We've got Hawk, China, Crush, Owen Hart, the British Bulldog, Paul Bearer, and Vader. Most of the people who are dead on this card actually don't participate in a match. So, if bloody Owen Hart and British Bulldog weren't running out there like damn hooligans, would have been less people, but...
Get those numbers up. Get the stats up.
you got to get the numbers up for a 1997 Raw.
Thanks, sure.
So, believe it or not, this is the go-home show for In Your House Revenge of the Taker, which I just want the listeners to keep that in mind as we go through and review this show. This was the show that would entice you to buy a pay-per-view.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like no wonder WrestleMania did fuck all buys. If this was the kind of product they're putting out on their go-home show, Jesus. On the network, this show opens up with a disclaimer saying it is presented in the most complete form possible due to original production technical issues, which is something I've actually never seen before on the network, and this warning flashes multiple times throughout. Is that something that was like added on for the network, or was that like to happen at the time? I'm confused.
I'm pretty sure it happened at the time.
Like they had the disclaimer, or
I don't know. The graphic looked pretty new.
Yeah, it did look new.
So, I don't know.
Yeah,
hard to tell.
It's a mystery. We then get the damn air raid siren intro to Raw, and Vince McMahon and Jim Cornette are on commentary, and they announce that tonight's show is coming from the US, South Africa, and Kuwait. What could possibly go wrong with that format? Jim Ross and the Honky Tonk Man are on commentary in South Africa, and the flag that they use to represent South Africa here isn't even their current flag. South Africa changed its flag in 1994 to coincide with the end of apartheid. So it had been changed for 3 whole years at this point, and WWF were like, you know what, that apartheid thing was pretty lit, let's use the flag from it.
Yeah, that's pretty disrespectful.
Yeah, like, I mean, I know it's the 90s, so, you know, info is not travelling as quick as it does these days, but surely 3 years is long enough to be like, we have a different flag.
Yeah.
I've also just got to bring up here, like, this was all previously taped, but how are they doing the commentary? Like, Vince and Jim Cornette were crossing and they're having conversations. I was amazed.
That was the most confusing thing to me, because you could tell it was like live. They weren't in this. One wasn't in America, one wasn't in South Africa at the same time. They did it well. I don't know what they did, but kudos to them. They did really well.
Yeah, like, it was unbelievable. I was thinking, like, oh, maybe Jim Ross and Honky Tonk Man are there, but then they, like, dubbed in all of their commentary, but then they, like, have full close-up of them on commentary. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's actually pretty impressive. Probably the most impressive thing from the show. So the show kicks off here, and we get the Godwins defeating the Legion of Doom via pinfall. None of the websites I pull this match information from had the match time here, so just make
just.
What were you going to say?
I'd just say too long.
Too long. Imagine in your mind something going on for way too long and being dreadfully boring, and that's how long this went on.
Here comes Owen Hart, and they've got the gold. They're going to show the Legion of Doom what champions are really all about. Oh, did you see that? The British Bulldog just peeled animal. And the official. Wow, I can't believe it.
So the Godwins make their entrance, and it's eerily quiet here because we're having audio issues, and we cut to a flashback to last week where they accidentally tossed their slot buckets on the Legion of Doom. They were going for Owen Hart and the British Bulldog, but they got out of the way in time and hit the Legion of Doom, which made them pretty mad. And yeah, this is where the kind of the production issues, the note at the top of the broadcast comes from, because you can barely hear Cornette when he tries to talk on commentary, and you see throughout the night commentary just fades in and out. As for the actual match, Hawk no-sells a pile driver completely here. Animal ends up getting a hot tag, and the match starts to dissolve into chaos. This allows Owen Hart and British Bulldog to come out, hit Animal with the belts, and then the Godwins get the win. What did you guys think of this opener here?
That was a pretty average match. Anytime I see the Legion of Doom and there's no Heidenreich, I just get a little upset. One of your notes there is "fuck the Godwins," and I have one that says "man, fuck the Godwins." So along the same lines.
FTG.
The guys, I don't know. Yeah, man, we could get shirts made. I just was not a fan of seeing those guys out there. It was interesting to see, like you pointed out, was it Hawk that no-sold the pile driver? I mean, they complain about wrestling today. They don't sell moves and stuff like that. It's a fucking pile driver. That's
like
neck.
The most protected move in the WWF at this point, and he just gets up because he's got a big, strong neck.
Yeah, that's what they said on commentary. He's got a strong neck. That's why it didn't hurt him. This kind of sucked, and it was a precursor to what was going to go on for the rest of the show.
What were your thoughts, Nat?
Ooh, what were my thoughts? Just good entrance music. Good, right?
Glad you mentioned the entrance music, because this is more a note for you, Nat. But I thought that their entrance music sounded like a track from Rugrats Studio Tour on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, it does remind me of that. I've read that, and I agree with you there. It sounds exactly the same.
You're running around the old the mini golf course, and it's just like you're fucking Tommy.
I just got written in my notes multiple times. Yeehaw! Look, this is a yeehaw show. This is a cowboy show. There's just fucking chaos everywhere. Nothing's happening. I just said good commentary, and it just goes dead silent, and fuck, the crowd just going mild, and fucking hell, what a travesty this night's going to be.
Yeah, look, not a whole lot to say. This is a very bad wrestling match. I thought that this is professional wrestling's version of a slop bucket. It's just no good. The Legion of Doom are a legendary tag team, but you can't do a whole lot when you're put in there with the Godwins of all people. Yeah, it's just not great. Not great at all. And this is probably one of the more easy to digest matches on the card, because it's like 5 or 6 minutes long.
Because it's not in South Africa.
Yeah, it's just no offense to South Africa, but all the matches you got over there was god awful. It might as well have been taken as the WWE or the US fucking trying to start a war with them, delivering such an awful product over there. But do you boys have anything else to say before we move on?
God, no. So.
Well, we move straight into another match. It's Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and yes, it's literally Hunter Hearst Helmsley. It's not Triple H yet, defeating Jesse James, not the Road Dogg yet either, via pinfall. It goes 14 minutes and 52 seconds. We flash back to 2 weeks ago, where Jesse James destroyed one of Elvis's guitars. This would prove to be the most entertaining part of this whole segment. Jesse James desperately tries to get the crowd to cheer him while he's in a headlock, but the crowd couldn't give two shits. Honky Tonk Man is feuding with Jesse James at this point in time, and he jumps off commentary while trying to distract the referee, which allows Honky Tonk Man to distract Jesse James. This gives Hunter the chance to hit the pedigree and get the win. After the match, Jesse James gets on the mic and says he wants Honky Tonk Man to get in the ring, but he refuses. This just fucking sucks. What did you guys think of the match?
Yeah, the match was very boring. The only note I have is that they wrestled a wrestling match. So, I mean, take that for what you will. I don't know, it just felt kind of slow. And was it the audio that we couldn't hear the crowd, or was it just the crowd was dead? Which one do you think it was?
No, I think you could hear the crowd, I think. Because, I don't know, it felt like either the crowd mics or just, the mics from the cameras were picking up stuff. Because there were times where the mics were good enough to pick up the commentary, through the crowd mics or, the camera mics.
Yeah.
Because you would, vaguely hear Honky Tonk Man screaming about some fucking nonsense. And then you're like, oh, that'd be cool to hear what he's saying properly.
Yeah, I mean, what a feud that would have been. Jesse James and old mate Honky. So I might have to go back and watch that. But this match, it did nothing for me. 15 minutes, and I'll probably never get back, unfortunately.
What did you think, Nat?
You rock and roll the talk, man. Woohoo! I just thought it was really good white noise. Yeah. Just yeehaw.
I was watching this match and sent a text to the group text, and Pricey replied, "Is this not a good thing to watch before I go to sleep?" And I was like, "Yeah, this will literally put you to sleep. It's basically white noise. There's no commentary." So I was like, "Do not watch this before you go to sleep. You will fall asleep during it."
I mean, yeah, I love WF Superstars from 1986. This is a good show. It's just a couple of degenerates, and I said it sucks. But the biggest thing it reminded me of was just, I know you can hear my commentary, boy. Meow, 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 meow. And just wanted to say, Triple H's music reminds me of It's a Big Ad for Carlton Draft.
More people need to use the classical music.
I enjoyed everything other than the match, I think. So
yeah, that's a fair point.
15 minutes, and like Brody said, we are never getting that back.
Yeah, my first thought on the match was, why the fuck did they think airing a 15-minute house show match would be a good idea in the middle of the Monday Night Wars? Like, who okayed this? Like,
not great.
I mean, with this garbage being put on, I'm surprised Eric Bischoff, with everything he was doing, with the hottest angle in wrestling history, didn't just straight up gangland style murder the WWF at this point. Just so unbelievably bad. This choice to air this Raw, this match. This match isn't even good for like a house show match.
Yeah.
Like, I've been to plenty of house shows here, like when they come through the old WrestleMania Revenge tour.
They can't work a crowd for shit.
You see Alberto Del Rio wrestle fucking someone before he's debuted on TV, and they still put on an entertaining match. Like, it just feels like they're not even trying here. They're just like, South Africa don't deserve the good Triple H. Which, it doesn't make good for a good live show, and it definitely doesn't make good for TV. I was very confused by Triple H being the blue blood here, but having China. I never realised that was a thing. I guess I assumed that...
Yeah, he brought her in to protect royalty.
Is that why?
Pretty much.
I just assumed that, one day he just woke up and he was DX and he discovered China. It's like, this is China. She is here now. Speaking of China, she straight up looks like a man here.
Yeah, she hadn't had the implants in yet.
It's just real square jaw. Like, she becomes more feminine, like around like WrestleMania 17 kind of era. But here, she's straight up more manly than fucking Hunter. I also think this match needed more close-ups of China with her arms crossed. Like,
it makes her look strong, bro.
At least every 10 seconds, they should have cut to her with her arms crossed, looking real menacingly. Yeah, like, as we kind of already mentioned, the technical actual aspects of this broadcast during this match is awful. The sound and picture aren't very good. Like, the camera quality is no good, especially when you compare it to the first match where they're using all of the typical WWF gear, and then you go to South Africa and it's like, whoa, fucking Uncle John filmed this on his camcorder. Also, it's impressive that Road Dogg never even remotely tried to change up his in-ring work. It's early 1997 and he's still doing the damn fucking...
Shake, rattle, and roll, baby.
Yeah, the little dumb dance before hitting...
Come on, baby, kiss him.
Shitty strikes. Like, dude, you were still doing that when you came back for your run in 2014. And yeah, finally, just shout out to the 1997 African Storm Tour.
Oh, fuck that.
What a name for a tour.
Bro, fuck that.
But yeah, any final notes here before we move on?
I don't think so.
I mean, this is our COO. Oh, he was, because until we became the authority.
If I was in NXT and Triple H saw one of my matches and pulled me aside and tried to give me pointers, I'd be like, Hunter, I'll flip out my phone, give him the network, I'd be like, this, you fucking did this.
And then you say, I'm the authority, I'm booking myself.
I'm a fan, I'm the authority now, I book myself to win all the titles.
I'm bringing back Juice Robinson.
Well, after this match, we go to commercial, and when we come back, we see a bunch of South Africans dancing while the chicken from Nando's stands behind the Rock. So if you've ever wanted to see some traditional African dancing while the Rock...
Some traditional Nando's.
out with the traditional Nando's mascot, scroll to about half an hour into this episode on the network.
Can we not go through this match?
I mean, we're going to have to, but before we get there, I do enjoy that clearly this event, or this tour, was heavily sponsored by Nando's. The Rock is making an appearance with the Nando's mascot. And
there's lots of chicken signs in the crowd.
Signs in the crowd that literally say chicken in the Nando's font. During this broadcast, not a single mention of Nando's. What were they paying for? Like the Rock to have a brief cameo with the Nando's chicken.
It was real subtle.
It's subliminal messaging.
It worked. So we're talking about it.
Yes, I literally I went to High Point today and walked past Nando's, and that was my first thought. I'm like, oh, the Rock, South Africa. and then I looked across from it and I went, oh no, rest in peace, New York Minute.
Oh man.
Good. Good shit.
I think New York Minute's become more of a running gag than Kevin Thorne or Test at this point.
I mean, they never ate at New York Minute and tasted how bad it was.
I think we need to bring back the Kevin Thorne jokes. We had a real chance to get him on this podcast.
Oh, we have to watch another show that has him on it.
Yeah, we keep putting up the Mordecai Great American Bash, but nobody ever votes for it. So the next match here is Savio Vega, everyone's favourite wrestler, defeating Rocky Maivia via pinfall. If you thought the last match was long, well, this one's longer. It goes 17 minutes and 35 seconds.
Rocky wants to send a lasting impression to Savio Vega before this Sunday. Savio able to free himself. Look, he's got rolled up. He's got his ties. Savio's got the ties. He did not. Savio Vega has won this match.
And for some reason, The Rock gets a Goldberg-style entrance here. He gets filmed walking backstage and then out through the
He's going to go get some chicken.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't come down with the damn Nando's mascot. The Nation is with Savio Vega here, which I completely forgot that Savio Vega was a member of the Nation. And this is where the weirdness happens with the broadcast. We're in South Africa again for this match, and Honky Tonk Man and JR on commentary. But in the middle of the match, Vince interrupts commentary to ask if Honky Tonk Man has been invited to meet Nelson Mandela. Then Honky Tonk Man makes an apartheid joke, which just fucking why Honky Tonk Man? JR then begins, in the middle of this match, interviewing Ahmed Johnson, who has a big old 2x4 for some reason.
He's stroking it.
We then interrupted the match again. They really don't want to show us this match, because this time we see photos of a magazine. Just literally flicking through photos of a magazine for reasons. In the middle of the match, Farouk comes out with his arm in a sling. The Rock hits a rock bottom on Savio Vega, but that's not his finish, I don't think, at the moment. I think it's the shoulder breaker that the Rock attempts next. But Vega shoves him into the corner and gets a roll-up for the win. Classic Divas finish that they're given to bloody The Rock in 1997. After the match, the Nation beat up The Rock, but Ahmed Johnson saves him with his comically large 2x4. I think he's overcompensating for something, if you know what I mean. What did you guys think of this match?
I mean, we've seen that photo of Ahmed Johnson with his jeans, and his junk's like on one side of the seam. So I don't think he's compensating for anything.
Maybe it was the 2x4.
That's where he stores it. Yeah, I mean, this match sucked, but 17 minutes, jeez, that's a long time. I can't believe I watched it for that long. Yeah, I just have here, fuck this shit. I don't really have any notes for this. It's just really long and really boring. I expect better from Savio Vega. He's one of the all-time greats, so I'm sure the next time we cover one of these matches, it'll be much better than this.
I expect better from the dude who main evented No Way Out of Texas.
Oh, shit, we did cover something of this.
Yeah, and apparently, according to Bruce Pritchard, he was not supposed to bring out the barbed wire. Fucking deathmatch guy, Savio Vega over here. Breaking the rules. What were your thoughts on Savio Vega and Rocky Maivia putting on a classic, Nat?
How cute was D'Lo Brown in the suit?
Yeah,
He looks so cute. Why was he in a suit? He didn't even do his bloody with his neck. He does like a Jerry Lynn without saying anything. But I've got some quotes, but I've put them in the SpongeBob meme where it's lowercase and uppercase.
Yeah.
It's the blue chipper. He's a rookie. Are you gonna bring that 2x4, bro? Those are my main quotes from the match. That's all I've got because it fucking sucked. There was lots of cutaways to compensate.
Yeah, there were a lot of cutaways. Like, it's not even an exaggeration. They cut away so we can silently flip through a magazine. It's like, fuck, man. Like, I could get one of my old WWE magazines and flip through that while watching the match if you thought it was that boring. Like, you didn't have to do that for me. Yeah, this match is dog shit. I've heard through my sources that at Guantanamo Bay, when that was going around, they used to show this match on loop as a form of cruel and unusual torture to the more sick inmates.
Oh, I know who your source is though. It's probably Slice Wrestling.
I don't get that reference.
You don't get that reference? You haven't seen this Twitter account? He just makes up bullshit. People are like taking it for like real wrestling news.
So let's play Dave Meltzer's old account, eh?
Probably. And he does the old every word starts with a capital letter.
Oh no, that's Brandon Marlow on Pokemon Forum circa 2008.
Yeah, that's probably your source there, Slice Wrestling. Probably accurate though. But did you know some wrestlers are being considered to be changed in the Superstar Shake-Up?
No.
You heard it here first. See, WWE are considering moving Bayley to SmackDown, but they are also considering moving Naomi to Raw. Oh my god. There's two brands.
No, but they're also considering leaving them on their brands as well. So.
Well, shit. I want to see what Slice Wrestling has to say.
You heard it here first.
Guys, I just got a DM here from a trusted source. Apparently, allegedly, Monday Night Raw will be live this week.
What? When? What time?
When?
Where can I watch it?
You can watch it on the USA Network.
Oh,
it's like 8, 7 Central, brother.
8, 7 Central,
and allegedly it will go 3 hours on the dot. Apparently, there's going to be no overrun this week.
Oh my god. That's insane.
I think the only the positive for this match is that there's commentary during it, which, I mean, that's not saying much because the commentary is not good, and some of that commentary is interviewing Ahmed Johnson. But, I mean, I guess it's not white noise, so that's a win.
Sure.
I had a lot of questions, so I just basically put them all into one note, so I'll just read it out as is here. Why is D'Lo wearing a tux? Why is Crush in the Nation? Isn't Savio Vega like Mexican or something? I am very confused.
Crush in the Nation because they were trying to go away from the race angle.
Really?
That's why they eventually bring in Owen Hart.
I thought they went away from it when Owen Hart came in. Like, I thought that was like a late stage Nation thing. I didn't realize it was this early on. They were already like, yeah, let's get rid of the race thing, the whole point of the group.
Yeah. And Savio Vega, yes, he is Mexican.
Well, he should be starting bloody the LWO.
That's racist, bro.
Oh, well, fuck that. Scrap that. Can make him come out on the lawnmower.
You mean the filthy animals, bro.
So, any final notes here before we move on to, I guess, maybe like the one decent segment that's coming up here?
Let's hit the Old Town Road.
Oh, gonna ride that horse till I can't no more.
Yeah. This show sucks.
After that match, we get the intro and more pyro to signify the start of the second hour. Yes, somehow we've had 2 matches. Oh, well, 3 matches, but 2 extremely long matches, and then we're in the second hour already. Felt like we're in the third hour, but it's still the second hour. We flash back to last week where Stone Cold gets into Gorilla Monsoon, who is apparently the president at this time of the WWF, and he pressures him to give him Bret Hart at In Your House. After this, Stone Cold then comes out to cut a promo. Vince McMahon is interviewing him in the ring, and Stone Cold is basically referring to Vince as the guy that runs the whole show, which was I thought it was slightly awkward and a little bit weird because I never thought they were acknowledging Vince as having that role until the Screwjob kind of era, which is still a few months away, so wasn't expecting that. He also says during the promo that Brett hasn't been screwed yet, which gave me a bit of a laugh, knowing what happens in November of this year. But I think this is one of the only decent segments, so I'm going to ask you boys what you think of the promo.
Yeah, it was good. I don't know. I didn't really... I was all worn out from the matches, so it was nice to just watch something that was, normal and not shit. So, yeah, it kind of reminded me of Rich Swann's Stone Cold impression brand.
Yeah, I actually did think of that multiple times throughout this Raw. I'm like, damn, Rich Swann doesn't mean Stone Cold and Bret Hart.
It should have been you and me, Bret, but you went and screwed it all up. Something like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking as well, to be honest.
What did you think of Stone Cold? Classic Stone Cold cutting a promo, Nat?
Yeah, it was really good. You get to see the roots of like Stone Cold coming up through. I kind of forgot Gorilla Monsoon was the president as well. It's basically just like a precursor to everything we get to see because very soon he gets pretty hot.
Yeah, that's this is basically it's not peak Stone Cold yet, but pretty damn close.
The week after, because obviously like Auto plays the next episode. They have a pretty good street fight.
Really, like a legit street fight.
I don't know if it's actually sanctioned, but they were just fucking hammering on.
Gorilla Monsoon's like, you lunatics. Bloody, can't sanction this. You're going to get us sued. We're going to be liable. It has to be unsanctioned.
Oh, well, that's okay then.
So we get another match here. It is Goldust defeating the Sultan with Iron Sheik via disqualification. It goes 13 minutes, but I think a lot of those minutes are actually in the commercial break because on the network it definitely doesn't go that long. Goldust has cat face paint. In the match, the Sultan tries to leave, but the Iron Sheik makes him return to the match. Hunter Hearst Helmsley then runs out with China and they attack Goldust. The Sultan and Triple H then team up to do the Meltzer Driver. So the Young Bucks stealing yet another thing from Triple H and the Click. What did you boys think of this match?
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I mean, the match was probably 13 minutes too long. It kind of scared me a little bit. Goldust face paint, that looked a bit insane. What else have I got here? I've got here, what the fuck is the Sultan? And then I found out, holy shit, it's Rikishi. It just made me really glad that didn't catch on. But the main thing that I took from this was that the USA Network on Sunday nights gets fucking lit. You got Pacific Blue and then Silk Stockings and then the Big Easy. So I'm going to be camped up on the couch on Sundays watching the USA Network.
I have one note about this match, and it was literally about the god-awful looking shows on the USA Network during this era. What was the Stalkings one?
Silk Stockings.
That literally sounds like a parody show from like The Simpsons or something. They'll start the episode off and they're like, we now return to Silk Stockings.
It doesn't sound great. But one thing at the end of the match, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but you could sort of see Triple H and China running down, and I feel like you can hear it on the mic. They tell whoever it is to kick out. I think it was Goldust was getting pinned. They're like, kick out. Yeah, I don't know whether that's because like the run-in was late or what it was, but I found that very interesting.
Nat, what did you think of this banger between the Usos' dad and I was going to say the dad of Cody Rhodes, but that's not correct.
Fun fact: the Sultan has no tongue.
Is that why he has the old face mask?
Yeah, his gimmick was that his tongue was ripped out in battle.
In battle? What kind of battle? Like,
I don't fucking know. What's that rattle?
There wasn't a whole lot of battles going on at this time, like that a Sultan would fight in.
That's literally the only note I made for the match because I didn't like the match at all. was weird. Like, the heel got out of the ring. Like, the Sultan was supposed to be this killer. And he just like, nah, I'm leaving. I'm sick of this. Like, instead of, like, wanting to fucking fuck Goldust's corpse.
The Sultan was so embarrassed to be wrestling on this show that he was like, fuck, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
The Iron Sheik had to be the rational one.
Should we blame him? No.
I don't at all. I wouldn't have blamed if Rikishi quit on the spot. Just be like, fuck you want me to do? The Sultan gets Goldust in South Africa. Jesus. 13 fucking minutes for this match is goddamn ridiculous. It's obviously shorter because we don't have to sit through the ad break, but still way too long. This match, nothing even remotely remarkable happens here except for the ads for the USA Network shows. And that's the only note I could muster up here, so good fucking riddance to that match. Thank God the Sultan became Rikishi. So next up, we get the portion of the show that I guess Vince McMahon was saying was from Kuwait. There's actually nothing really shot in Kuwait except for this sort of montage of Bret Hart cutting promos, talking about how bad the American fans are. And these are all shot in Kuwait with pretty low quality. But, I mean, Bret Hart was pretty entertaining during them, I guess. Don't really know where Kuwait is. I think it's somewhere in the Middle East, but shout out to the WWF going all in on Kuwait. I feel like Kuwait was what India was to them a couple years back when they were pushing Jinder hard.
Nice.
The only problem is they couldn't find someone from Kuwait to wrestle. So they're like, fuck.
Just make the Sultan from there.
They could have, yeah. They should have. The Sultan and Goldust should have been a match held in Kuwait.
Bro.
So, Mankind and Vega, who, by the way, speaking of Kuwait, I didn't mention this in my notes at all, but before they went to South Africa, they went to Kuwait, and they held the Kuwait Cup, which I have some notes on later on. But Vader and The Undertaker get interviewed on a morning show in Kuwait, and they ask about the legitimacy of professional wrestling, and Undertaker gives, the typical canned response. And Vader just fucking goes in on this dude, full grabs him and swears on TV, which is illegal. It's literally against the law in Kuwait. So he ends up getting under house arrest in his hotel for a period of time.
I have a lot of respect for Vader, to be honest. That's good.
He's protecting the business there in Kuwait.
That's it. That's the business that he loves. Do what you can. I respect it.
Kuwait's an important market, so if you have people just being like, "Oh, this is fake bullshit," the WWF are never going to win the Monday Night Wars.
Exactly.
This is why the WWF won the Monday Night Wars. While WCW was gallivanting around in Australia filming fucking Thunder in Sydney, they were getting into the true Kuwait professional wrestling market, like a good wrestling company should. So here, next up, we've got Mankind and Vader defeating the Headbangers via DQ.
Oh, wait a minute. Vader didn't fire me. I sold his contract. Never mind. What's Mosh doing? Mankind now with Mosh. Oh! Mosh with some sort of liquid spewing from his mouth into the eyes of Mankind. And I'm not so certain that Mankind isn't experiencing some visual impairment.
So we see some dissension between Mankind and Vader from last week. They don't really like each other, but Paul Bearer is trying to get them to coexist. And this match happens. Nothing important happens. It's very, very boring until Mosh spits an unknown liquid, I like to believe that it's piss, into the eyes of Mankind, which causes a DQ. Mankind is blind and kind of just stumbling around the ring and accidentally puts the mandible claw on Vader. What did you guys think of this match?
I just have here, when you thought the show couldn't get any worse, they send out the Headbangers. So that's, good for them. That was a good idea.
Going on semi-main.
The match was terrible, but the only good thing is that after that spot where Mankind's blind and then attacks his partner, is it reminded me of the match that I watched with the Young Bucks, Naito and Bushi. And Bushi sprays the mist into Matt Jackson's eyes and he super kicks everyone, including Nick and the referee. So, yeah, the best thing about this match was I thought about something else from a different match. So,
the cold spray, bro.
Yeah, that sums it up.
What did you think, Nat?
Oh, yes! Hey! A Big Mac meal! Shout out to the Valvinus guy.
No shout outs to the Valvinus guy.
What? We need a collab with him. He can come on for every match. He can do an impression. Fuck, this sucks, man. And I think I have to agree with you, Brody. I see the headbangers and I want to run.
Look, I was at a loss for words when this match happened. Like, it couldn't possibly get worse. And then, like, when Mankind and Vega come out, I'm like, oh, fuck, there's storylines going on here. Mankind, Mick Foley, good worker. Vader didn't have a great WWF career, but, solid. Unfortunate that it's against the Headbangers, but, maybe we're going to see a brawl between Mankind and Vader. And instead, we just get the world's most boring match that ends with a fucking fake Tajiri missed spot. And then,
I had that written down too.
All I could say at the end here is fuck the Headbangers, and bloody, who suggested we watch this shit? I'd like to have a talk to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking piece of shit suggesting this. Yeah, either of you got anything to say about this absolute piss match?
No, let's move on.
Well, we move back to South Africa, where JR promotes the World Championship match at In Your House. The lights then flicker and Undertaker just comes over the PA system and says, "Creatures of the Night," which is just very spooky stuff. His music then begins to play while he cuts a promo without ever appearing. This is fucking awful.
Yeah, it's but the crowd went nuts, and I just thought, man, that shows how bad the show is, that they're happy they get to hear Undertaker's voice, and that's it.
They're like, "Creatures of the Night, that's us. We're from there."
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not good at all, and don't really recommend having your top guy like The Undertaker just show up in voiceover on your go-home show to your pay-per-view. Not recommended. So after this, we come back from commercial and we see some real pervert shots of Sable from Raw magazine. So again, what's with the extensive segments where we just flick through a magazine?
Mate, I don't know about you, but I was getting hot and heavy.
Man, they were just really trying to put over Vic Venom writing for
Vic Venom
WWF magazine. They're like, fuck, this Vic Venom's doing great work, promoted on the live broadcast.
Oh god, but at least we got to see Sunny.
Yeah, well, we got to see a bunch of women in the pervert replays of a bikini contest that was at the Slammies, and it just straight up has porn music over the top of it.
Hey, Sunny is hot.
Sunny does look quite good. This is peak Sunny.
Quite ravishing.
She looks quite ravishing, Rick Rude. Could either of you tell me who the black woman was?
I got no idea.
Was it Jacqueline? I can't remember.
It was definitely not Jacqueline. I'm just like, oh, they got a random lady from the crowd. Nice.
Oh, shit. Fuck.
I thought we were going to say before I interrupted you, Pricey.
I was just going to say, I only seen Sunny from recently, so she looks. How
good does she look? This is her prime.
She's killing it back then.
I'm going to be honest. Sunny in 2019 isn't as bad as she should be.
Yeah, with all the shit she's gone through, she should look worse.
Yeah, like all the drugs and shit, all the partying she's done, she should look way worse. And the way people like hype it up is like, oh man, she looks like dog shit. You look at her and it's just like, she looks like an old lady, I guess. Could be a lot worse. She could be dead.
I've just got another note. I saw you wrote there biking contest instead of bikini contest. You forgot to spell check, but I just wanted to say I probably would rather see them in bikinis riding bikes than this whole show.
I would gladly have at least 3 of the matches on this card ripped out, and instead we have a Tour de France style segment where Sunny, Sable, and other lady just have a bike race.
Well, I'm dripping, bro. I'm dripping.
So next up, it kind of just cuts abruptly. We're back in South Africa. And it's some numpty from the South African Truth Commission cutting a god-awful promo.
He's a lie smeller.
only good thing about this is that it's leading up to the introduction of Kurgan.
Kurgan.
This promo is not good.
Oddities down with the clown.
South African Truth Commission. Surely you boys know the origin of the Commandant, who is cutting the promo here.
I don't.
You don't know the origin of him?
Of who?
Of the Commandant, where he came from. You know, his how he got to the WWF.
No, I don't. Explain.
Well, you know how Bret Hart thought he would be an actor, even though he wasn't that good at acting.
Yeah.
Well, he met this lovely gentleman. I think his name was Robin Smith or something like that. I was looking at his Wikipedia page before.
Yeah, Graham.
And he met him on the set of some film. And Bret Hart liked him so much that he went back to the WWF and said, "You've got to use this guy as a manager." So they just like, whatever, we'll do what you say, Bret. And they hired him for this gimmick. And he didn't last a year because they were like, "We want a manager who can take bumps and stuff. So you're gone and we're replacing you with Don Callis."
Should have replaced him with Jameson.
And they really should have. That closed the less than 1 year chapter of the Commandant's wrestling career. And he would star in a bunch of other movies. The only relevant one is he was in Invictus, which is a movie about South Africa. So no wonder he got a gig in that. But yeah, that's the unedited history of the South African Truth Commission. But next up is our main event, but before we can get there, we've got to go through Nat's trivia, which is going to be 6 million times better than anything that happened on this Raw.
Sassafras. My wife Jan, she said it's now time for Nat's Triple Tonka Travesty Trivia. Oh, that slut.
Did you boys listen to the most recent Something to Wrestle With?
The Michael Hayes one?
No, it was... What was this week? So it was Stone Cold 97, 98.
I haven't got to that yet.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, they mentioned that JR called out Bruce Pritchard for his impression recently, saying that he was making fun of him or something. And he was like, "I don't even say sassafras. What does that even mean?" I just think, just shut the fuck up, JR.
That's like when they say do. He doesn't actually say do. Like they say that to Michael Hayes because that's the noise he'd make if he walked.
That's literally what Bruce Pritchard said. Like in response to that, is like Michael Hayes doesn't say that, but I say it anyway.
Yeah. Oh, what
also,
a fucking idiot.
I think this every time. Like his Jim Cornette sounds nothing like Jim Cornette.
Goddamn motherfucking.
It's funny as fuck, but it sounds nothing like Jim Cornette. I spent this Raw thinking, damn, imagine if it was Bruce Pritchard doing Jim Cornette on commentary. That would be better.
Yeah.
Well, what about Bruce Pritchard doing his Dusty impersonation on commentary? Oh, wait, they tried that. Rip Rogers.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's Rio Rogers, sorry.
Yeah, Rip Rogers is just that dude that has a Twitter account, but he's like 1 million years old.
Yeah.
Old wrestlers should not have access to social media. I'm talking to you, fucking Billy Graham.
Yeah, Billy Graham can fuck off.
Yeah. So are we ready for trivia?
Woo!
Well, Pricey, you're on 11, and Brandon's on 10. So how do you guys feel after last week's triple Tonka trivia or whatever it was?
I'm going to be honest, don't remember it.
Neither do I. I thought I won, but I think Brandon won. I can't remember.
All right, well, that's okay because this week's trivia is sponsored by Costco's Chicken. And, you know, it's better than Nando's Chicken because it cost $5.
Yeah, but do they have a cool mascot?
No, they don't. Shit. We'll have to get onto that sponsor about that. Get a new mascot for Costco.
Yeah, they deserve it.
Alrighty, are we ready?
Let's go.
Always ready for a bit of trivia.
Alrighty, closest answer wins. On this day, Chicago Bulls defeated the Toronto Raptors 117-100. But how many 3-pointers did Steve Kerr hit?
Yeah, 3.
0.
Brody's closest, it's 1.
Nice.
He had a bad night, 1 of 6.
Oh.
And Jordan scored 30. So
when you are, you go, Pricey.
I was going to say it was as bad as Paul George's 3-point shooting today. Ooh.
I mean, it couldn't have been as bad as the Detroit Pistons' overall performance today.
Hey man, you guys are. No one expects you to beat the top seeds. So you'd be right. You sneak a game or two.
Your team didn't get blown out by 40 points in your first playoff game. I can't relate.
See how good the Heat went today?
Yeah, we are bloody going fishing.
Brisbane Heat playing Big Bash.
in the Nets. Question 2. Okay, on the other channel, Nitro's main event was Lex Luger versus who?
Hogan?
Randy Savage.
Incorrect. The answer is Kevin Nash, and it ended in DQ because, of course, it did.
Hey, can't give away the finish of that match on free TV.
And I will say, the Kevin Nash was accompanied by Ted DiBiase, X-Pac, and like 5 other people, so no wonder it ended in DQ. So question 3.
I think you mean 6 Park?
Yeah, I do. No, it's just 6. 6 Park was TNA.
Oh, really? Jesus Christ. I'm mixing up my X-Pac timelines.
I mean, this isn't X-Pac trivia, but we'll move on. I mean, his son Park is now in AEW. So question 3. Ahmed Johnson is the first what?
First dude to wear like 73 knee pads.
No.
Was he the... was it... Oh, no. I don't know. I don't know. First black guy that's clearly roiding to come out swinging a big 2x4?
Can I have another guess?
Oh, yeah, if you can get it, yeah.
First black Intercontinental Champion?
I mean, yes. I have... Yeah, you're correct. I said it's the first African-American WWF superstar to win a singles championship.
Oh, nice.
That's correct.
I was thinking that he was the first black tag champ, but I was getting that mixed up with the old Rocky Johnson. It's a different Johnson.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
They're all the same. So question 4. What was Ahmed Johnson's name when he debuted in WCW?
Oh, it's like... Oh, I actually saw this on his profile database.
Yeah.
It's like Big T or something.
It's Big T.
Yeah.
Not bad.
His name was Big T because he came in very out of shape. So they're like, you're big, so you're Big T.
Nice.
That's literally the explanation for his name.
And he had his final match in WCW against like General Erection and...
I love erections.
The other one.
So question 5, we got more Ahmed Johnson trivia. In 1996, the PWI 500, which is a bloody kayfabe, they ranked Ahmed Johnson at what number? Closest answer wins.
27.
Damn, I was going to say 27. I'll go 18.
Brandon's closer. He was number 5.
Jesus.
What the fuck?
So
his push wasn't that
good year.
big.
I said a good year. I mustn't... Oh, jeez. That's intense. But question 6, he also won a tournament for a cup. Which was it?
Kuwait Cup, or whatever you said before.
Hey,
damn it.
he got it.
I was going to say that.
I tried to say it as quick as I could before Brandon could, get it. All right, question 7. Scores are 2 to Brandon, 3 to Brody. Question 7. What company did Crush originally debut in?
WCW?
Incorrect.
AWA.
Incorrect. The answer is New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Wow.
Oof.
Made his debut in 87, and he had to come back due to his visa expiring.
Poor thing.
Yeah, so he did a couple more years, went back there. He had a lot of years under his belt before he came to WWF, and he still fucking sucked. Moving on. Question 8. I'll keep my opinions out of it. On July 4th, 1993, Crush was injured at the U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, the U.S. Intrepid. But what happened?
He...
Got shot.
Yeah, got shot in the dick. I feel like he tripped over something stupid. He fell over.
Do you have an answer, Brody?
You slipped in the shower?
I didn't even expect you guys to get this, so I'm going to give you the answer. If you had have watched the Lex Express special, you would have seen that Crush injured his back in the Stars and Stripes challenge trying to body slam WWF champion Yokozuna, who at the time had a build weight of 580 pounds, which is 260 kilos. And Crush almost got him up. I think it was the whole tournament was pretty much like a work, but I think Crush was actually trying, and he got Yoko off one foot, and then he pulled his back.
Oh, the poor Crushinator.
The Crushinator. Question 9. Heidenreich and Animal's version of LOD, who was their valet?
Christy Hemme?
Damn it.
Correct. And if you remembered, I've done that question before.
Nice.
I just needed an extra question. So question 10. This is a good one. It's got nothing to do with anything. It's kind of relevant in the current world. How old is PCO on this day?
On this day? In 1997?
I actually can get this.
I'm going to say he is 34.
Damn it, that's pretty close.
Close to 10 twins.
33.
Well, he's 29, so Brody wins.
It's 29.
No way, I thought he would be in his 30s by then.
You want me to go into it? He's 51 now.
Yeah.
And anyone who says he's too old, fuck them.
I assume he's older.
He is only 1 year older than Batista.
Yeah, I was actually...
That is crazy to think about.
For some reason, I looked up Batista during the week and then saw he was 50, and I'm like, first of all, what the fuck? Second of all, Homeboy is older than Triple H. How did the whole time they make him look like the Rookie in Evolution when he's older? Like,
I never thought about that.
This young stud coming up, it's like, man, I'm older than you.
So that's the trivia for this week. Brody's taking out another week. You're really driving for that cup.
The Kuwait Cup. I want to win it.
Yep, the Kuwait Cup of trivia.
I'm just mind blown that they held the Kuwait Cup twice.
Did they? There's a second one?
There's a second one, which is in my notes for the aftermath, so I won't spoil it for you, but there is a second one.
I hope Test wins it, and that's the trivia.
I've actually got a little bit of trivia for both of you. Ahmed Johnson, his last name is Johnson, and Johnson is sometimes used as a word for your penis. And he has a big hog, allegedly, so...
Yeah, the pictures don't lie.
Read between the lines. So we finally come to the main event of this episode of Raw. We've all been waiting for it. They've been hyping it up all night. It's Ahmed Johnson defeating Crush via pinfall in 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh, he blocked it. He countered. Ahmed countered. Ahmed will cradle. He's got it. He's got it. And he was holding it. He was holding it by the belt. Ahmed Johnson has beat Crush.
So yeah, this match happens. Ahmed Johnson gets a win via roll-up. That's it. That's the only significant thing that happens here. That's your pay-per-view go-home show main event. Farouk then gets on the mic and says the nation will get rid of him. He then issues him a challenge and says he'll disband the nation if he beats Farouk or if he beats the entire nation. I'm not really sure. He's not very clear here. This whole thing just sucks. And good riddance. What did you guys think of the main event?
I'll say it again. Ahmed Johnson with the... Are they knee pads that he wears on his thigh?
He has a lot of accessories.
No, I'm pretty sure he has a thigh pad as well. Because he did have an injury there at one point.
To keep his fucking dick strapped to his leg.
Honestly, man, I've just never understood his gear. I mean, good for him. Trying something new, got to stand out, so fair enough. I just have here, it's got to be up there with the worst main events in Raw history. I mean, I don't have them all here because there's a lot of episodes, but it sucks, so I'm just assuming it is. I just have here, please stop Farouk. This is a terrible way to end the show. I didn't think it could get worse. Like, there's only a couple minutes left. I'm like, man, just stop, please. Let's just end it here. Let Vince McMahon do the little, throw the graphics up there so we can see what's happening in the pay-per-view and just get out of here. Yeah, thank God it's over.
Nat, what were your thoughts?
Whoa, buddy, well said. Won't even add on that because this match fucking sucked. You'd think Crush it. He's had a few years behind him. He's had 10 years in the business, and fucking he shat the bed.
Oh yeah, look. My note was just thank God the show's over. Send us home, boys.
Yeah.
It's just not good at all. I think the only positive about this main event is that Ahmed Johnson kind of reminds me of Ezekiel Jackson.
Yeah.
He reminds me of the
heaps.
Brian Kendrick, which reminds me of Brian Kendrick and Paul London, who were with Ashley Mazzaro. And I think one of them was supposed to be kayfabe dating her, can't remember. But that was pretty lit. So yeah, shout out to Ahmed Johnson for being loosely related to Ashley Mazzaro.
This match, I mean, when you think about it, it just really makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes you do literally anything other than want to sit there and pay attention to 11 minutes and 30 of Crush trying to wrestle.
It's a way to clear your head watching this stuff.
Also, it's so weird that his name's just Crush when he's a regular dude. Like, Crush, because he joins LOD, yeah. That's like a normal name, you know? Fits me with the gimmick, but then, so I'm Crush, wear a vest. I'm in the nation for some reason.
Yeah, I still don't get that.
I think that wasn't the LAD stuff before this, his first run in WWE?
I think it would have been.
I have no idea.
But, like, why are they bringing him in as Crush again? Like, give him a
But
different
you know
name.
who else was in bloody the LA date?
Sonny?
Pukey. Do it, Brody.
Wait, you cut out. I don't know what you just
You
said.
gotta puke.
Wait, I've got to do it.
You do it good.
Do I? He's gotta puke. Like that? I don't know. Yeah, that's not even from like WETV. That's from like that documentary or something, wasn't it?
Wrestling with Shadows or something.
Yeah. That's...
Yeah, I think my only other note here is Crush and Ahmed Johnson main evented an episode of Raw in 1997 sucked.
Yep.
Like, that's the only way you can put it. No fucking wonder WCW became the top wrestling company. Like, they're so far off the ball of like what makes entertaining wrestling in 1997. I can't believe that the Attitude Era starts in this same year. The year that we got the Godwins dicking around and then whatever the fuck was going on in that main event. The Undertaker doing voiceover work. The Commandant. Sheesh. So we then, apparently according to a Profile database, The Undertaker would face Crush in a World Championship match in a dark main event.
Oh, he did a double.
I don't know if I believe that happened. I want to believe.
2 matches.
I want to believe that it happened, but
I hope Crush won.
yeah, imagine that. Fucking top 11 title changes that the WWE don't want you to remember. Number 4, Undertaker loses to Crush in fucking Kuwait. But yeah, that does us for this god-awful show. Fucking tricky question I've got for you boys. What's the best match or segment of the night?
Yeah. That's a good question. That is
God
a very
wins
good
music.
question. Yeah. I mean, segment, probably Austin.
Yeah, probably.
You'd be hard to pick a best match out of this. I really don't know. Was the Mankind one kind of short? Because I'll go that one if it was short.
I think that
remember.
was the shortest match on the card. At least it felt like it.
They all blended together, which really was a pain in the ass for me. So
That's impressive too, because they're in 2 different arenas for half these matches. So it's impressive that they all blend into one.
yeah.
Nat, what did you think?
I'm going to say the best match was the Godwins match. Not for the music, but for the fact that it was actually watchable.
That's debatable.
I mean, I thought it wasn't that bad. Like, it was boring, but I thought this whole show just sucked. Like, nothing interested me at all.
Yeah, I hated every single match. None of them are good. I think if I was Dave Meltzer and I had to rate these matches, I would give them literally all duds. I don't think any of them are so bad that it's like negative stars, because they're not like ridiculously bad. They're just all dreadfully boring. If I got this at a house show, I'd be heading to the bloody ticket booth to get my money back.
Juicy words.
look, I think the Stone Cold segment's probably the best actual segment. But if I have to pick a match, I'm going to pick Savio, Vega and Rocky Maivia. It might be the longest match, but also it's the match with the most wacky shit going on it. You know, we got the random live cross from Vince asking about Nelson Mandela, Ahmed Johnson with his big 2x4 getting interviewed, and then we get to scroll through the magazine for a bit.
Oh.
It's got something for everyone, you know. If you want topical humour, you got the Nelson Mandela stuff. If you want to see a dude with a big dick, Ahmed Johnson's there. And then if you enjoy reading as a magazine.
It's got everything.
It's fun for the whole family. That's really what the WWF was about in '97 before they threw it down the toilet for this bloody crash TV in the Attitude Era. Disgusting. Yeah. This is another tricky question. What's the worst match or segment of the night? Because there's so many to choose from.
Oh, good question. Maybe Triple H and Road Dogg. Maybe the main event.
Yeah,
maybe
I said Road Dogg.
Maybe any of them. Yeah, I'll go main event. That sucked.
What did you think, Nat?
I would say the Road Dogs and Hunter. That was very boring. And especially they got to finish the way it happened.
Yeah, I think I agree that the Hunter-Jesse James match and the main event are the biggest contenders. I think I'm going to go with the main event just because by that point, even though the show is like only an hour and a half long, I was just like, by the time I got there, I'm just like, just fucking end it already. This is not the payoff to an hour and a half of wrestling you want is Ahmed Johnson and Crush. You don't even get to see Stone Cold or Bret Hart or Undertaker or any top talent wrestle. You get Ahmed Johnson. Like, what an absolute blue balling from Vince McMahon there. Just send out Ahmed Johnson. The crowd will love that. Ahmed Johnson must pose. So what were our overall thoughts on the first and only Monday Night Raw from South Africa?
I think the show was so bad it's put a dent in our friendship because of you putting in the poll. Like, it's at that level. It's going to take me a little while to get over this. I'm just going to watch some 205 live. Just watch some good wrestling and, forget about this, I think.
Look, I had no way of knowing that this episode of Raw would be this bad. I had no way of knowing that I picked the worst episode of wrestling ever.
Fuck, a big turd just came out of the show.
Come out of fucking big old Ahmed Johnson's hog.
Yeah, well, my thoughts on the show was just, what does Bianca think of this show?
I don't think she wouldn't have been alive when this happened, which is kind of sad to think about.
Let's make her watch it and probably see if she likes it.
She would never go back to South Africa again.
Maybe there's some hidden pointers in this show that's like actually like, oh, this is good. Yeah.
She'd be like, oh yeah, South African Truth Commission. Hell yeah, that's cool.
No, this is fuck. It's hard to keep track of the worst things we've watched, but this is up there.
I genuinely think that this is the worst thing we've watched.
Probably.
There are no redeeming qualities. Like, we've watched some absolute dog shit things, but there's always one match in there that's like really funny or something. But this has nothing.
Yeah.
From start to finish, it pretty much sucked.
Yeah, it's just the bad kind of sucking where everything's boring. There's nothing entertaining happening. I have to fucking mark out for a magazine. That's how hard pressed we were for entertaining shit on this episode. So I guess that does us for the actual show here. We move into the aftermath. And fun fact, I don't know how true this is, but I saw it reported a few times. Apparently this show was what caused Vince Russo to be promoted to head writer in the WWF. So I guess kind of thank you for this terrible episode of Raw if it kind of ushered in the more edgier storylines that made the WWF not be so dog shit anymore. So congrats to Vic Venom on the promotion. As I was kind of searching around for WWF news at this time, I saw a piece of WCW news that I thought was actually pretty interesting. Hulk Hogan did a rare clean job to Jacques Rougeau at WCW's show in Montreal. Rougeau was the promoter of the show and was expected to be the hometown hero, but the crowd was apparently split down the middle between him and Hogan. It was a non-title match, and Rougeau pinned Hogan clean with a small package, which sets up a return match the next time they come through Montreal. It was actually Hogan's first totally clean pinfall loss since losing the WWF title to Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6 in 1990, which we've actually covered. So 7 years of no clean losses, and he does the JOB to Jacques Rougeau, of all people.
He only does the job in Canada, apparently.
Yeah, only in Canada, only to Jacques Rougeau, and only on shows that will never be televised because it was 97. There'll never be any footage of this.
Never televised, brother.
Actually, I think apparently I was reading about it that there's like home camera footage of it somewhere. So I think there is. If you want to ever see Hulk Hogan do the job to Jacques Rougeau, it might be out there.
The mistake is over now. Hogan sucks. He's a jobber.
Really, that's impressive. He didn't do a clean job for 7 straight years.
That's funny.
We've also got Big Daddy Dave Meltzer's thoughts on this show from South Africa. He said, this is direct words from him, Raw sucked this week and was taped from an outdoor stadium in South Africa, which... Was this outdoors? I didn't realize it was. I did not notice.
They said at the start of the show.
It looked pretty damn big, though. I don't know if it was just the layout of the stadium, but it looked...
It's definitely like an oval.
Yeah, it's not a traditional sort of arena they do. The main event of Crush versus Ahmed Johnson was a worst match of the year candidate. They did nothing and were missing everything.
That's a good summary.
Dave didn't mince his words there. He did not like Crush and Ahmed Johnson. So it just happens that at this time, Sid is injured. He reportedly has a herniated disc in his back from a weightlifting injury. But there's a lot of skepticism. For one, it's Sid, and it's actually softball season. So people starting to think Sid's going to go hit some dingers.
Softball, Mattingly young Katseko. Ken Griffey's grotesquely stolen Joe.
It would have been
Sid Vicious is running from the law.
It would have been way better if Sid Vicious was just on the power plant team already before the professional players showed up.
I said shave those sideburns. It's my hair.
What year did Homer at the Back came out in 92, so Sid wasn't fucking relevant then yet. They had held off for 5 years. Sid could have been in it.
Oh, it's true. I have a remake now.
Secondly, there's a lot of concern about people following the Shawn Michaels lead, aka faking an injury so they don't have to put over Bret Hart. Sid was scheduled to put over Bret Hart at the upcoming In Your House, but the match has been changed to Hart versus Austin. We've then got some info about Tiger Ali Singh, and this is what I was mentioning about the second Kuwaiti Cup. Tiger Ali Singh, son of legend Tiger Jeet Singh, debuted on WWF's Kuwait tour and won the Kuwaiti Cup tournament. But word is he was really green and out of shape, and so despite getting a huge push on the tour, WWF has no plans to use him in the US right now. And I've actually got the tournament bracket up here, and he goes over some solid names here. He goes over Leif Cassidy in the opener, which is Al Snow. He then goes over Billy Gunn, Mankind, and Owen Hart in the main event.
Jesus.
So, yeah, that's the thing. There's some great names in this tournament, by the way. There's Freddie Joe Floyd.
Yeah.
Psycho
Joe Jr.
Psycho Sid beats him by forfeit. So Freddie Joe Floyd was clearly so scared of Sid that he just forfeited. There's also Fake Diesel in it.
Ah, yes.
But not Fake Razor for some reason.
Probably didn't make the cut.
Like, we want Fake Diesel, but not you, Fake Razor, sorry.
He didn't win his heat match.
But yeah, that's the Kuwaiti Cup. I'm actually looking at the first Kuwaiti Cup, and Leif Cassidy lost in the first round to Bret Hart there. He couldn't ever get out of the first round of the Kuwaiti Cup, poor fella. But yeah, that happens. Tiger Ali Singh's there with fucking Babu. Is Babu his dude?
Yeah, his manager.
Then he gets deported.
Yes, that's true.
Babu. So the next pay-per-view, as we mentioned a couple of times, was In Your House 14, Revenge of the Taker. And this show is not great. It only has 5 matches on it. The opener is Animal and Hawk defeating Owen Hart and the British Bulldog via DQ to retain the... lose the tag title match. Will not gain the title or whatever. It gets 3/4 of a star. We then get Savio, Vega, and Rocky Maivia in a rematch from South Africa, this time for the Intercontinental title, and Savio Vega wins by a count-out, gets 3/4 of a star. Then we've got Jesse James defeating Rockabilly in 46 seconds, gets 1 1/4 stars. For those that don't know, Rockabilly is Billy Gunn.
Well, precursor.
Which, wow.
Oh, you didn't know?
That was, Honky Tonk Man kept playing it up. He had a protege. He was going to introduce a protege in your house. And it was Rockabilly.
Nice.
But the two main event matches seem solid. Taker and Mankind for the strap gets 3 3/4, and so does Stone Cold and Bret Hart, who go to a DQ finish. But yeah, that does us for Monday Night Raw from South Africa. Thanks for listening to the Wrestle Hunks podcast. You can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at WrestleHunksPod. I'm on Twitter as @SourceMarlow. Pricey is on Twitter as @EvilBrodyPrice. And Nat is on Twitter as @NathMarlow. You can also find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, all good podcast services. And feel free to rate us on whatever service you listen to us on. We now are at the part of the podcast where we each suggest a show to cover for next week's episode that we throw up into a Twitter poll. And I've decided to just randomly look at a list of bad pay-per-views before we went live here, and I picked King of the Ring 2002. It's the final King of the Ring actual pay-per-view, and Brock Lesnar wins it. And I don't think Dave Meltzer liked Brock Lesnar too much this period of time because his matches were rated pretty low. But yeah, there's a lot of low-rated matches on that card, and I've never seen it, and really feeling nostalgic for a good old King of the Ring, so decided to check that up. Pricey, what are you suggesting for the poll?
At first, because we were talking about Enzo and Cass before, so someone said the one where Enzo gets knocked out. I had a look. This pay-per-view was way too good for us to put in the poll. There's Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, 4 stars, Miz and Cesaro, 3 1/4, Ambrose Jericho, 3 3/4, Charlotte Natalia, 3 1/4, and then Roman AJ in the main event, 3 3/4. So I can't pick that. That's just a quality show. So I've gone with Backlash 06. So we did WrestleMania 22 last week. This is the pay-per-view following that up. The main reason I want this is just because I want to see how good of a worker God is in the ring. So,
God was an egomaniac. Bigger ego than Hulk Hogan.
So Mr. McMahon and Shane against God and Shawn Michaels, so that's going to be fun. There's also like Big Show and Kane, so that's interesting. Marga versus Ric Flair, that looks like it could be some fun. So plenty of great matches to choose from. So I've gone Backlash 2006.
Yeah, the sequel to our WrestleMania 22 review.
Exactly.
Nat, what are you putting into the poll?
9 words. Punjabi prison match. Fatal 4-way bra and panties match.
Jeez, that sounds like fun.
That's Great American Bash 2006, boys.
How does a fatal 4-way bra and panties match work? Is it like... is it elimination, or is it first person to strip someone wins?
You'll have to tune in, brother. And we get to see King Booker versus Rey Mysterio.
Oh, I can't wait. Is that the one where Chavo cost him?
Yeah, I think he was...
Oh, you just spoiled it.
I'm still salty about that from my childhood when I logged onto WWE.com after school to see that, and I'm like, fuck.
No, I didn't want him to win. And we get Mr. Kennedy versus Batista.
Oh, hell yeah.
It does not look fun.
Well, I've suggested a fun show for our wild card. Kind of, you've suggested the Great American Bash, and that was kind of cool, but by 2009, that was kind of old, crusty name, Great American Bash. A real hip way to flip that on its head was to just call it The Bash.
The Bash!
And so at the one and only Bash event in 2009, that, by the way, it happened at the Sleep Train Arena.
Nice.
Which is a great name. And thanks to our Profile Database for providing the former arena names here. You'll enjoy this, Pricey. It used to be called the Power Balance Pavilion.
Wow, that's a good name. No one uses Pavilion enough. That's nice.
I'm assuming that Sacramento was still playing the NBA games there. So how lit would that be? Coming to you live from the Power Balance Pavilion.
I remember. Oh, I've never heard that, but Sleep Train. That's a cool name.
So at this show, we've got R-Truth and Shelton Benjamin in a dark match, which is just R-Truth, get him on the main card. But the actual matches, we've got a championship scramble 5-way for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. It's Tommy Dreamer taking on Christian, Finlay, Jack Swagger, and Mark Henry. The match actually manages to get 2.25 stars, so it's pretty good for a scramble match. We've got an almost 5-star match here, 4.5 between Ray and Chris Jericho. It's Mask vs. Title, the Intercontinental title, that is. It then takes a bit of a nosedive, though. There's a minus 1-star match between Dolph Ziggler and Great Khali. It's no count out, no DQ, so good stipulation. There's a 1.5-star triple threat tag for the unified tag titles. Features some classic tag teams like Chris Jericho and Edge, Carlito and Primo, Cody Rhodes, and Ted DiBiase. This is also where Edge tears his Achilles, isn't it?
I don't think is it in this match that he does it? I thought it was after.
Oh, he might do it at like a house show, but yeah, he never gets to do anything with it. You know, what could have been?
It's right as they win the titles.
We do get a continuation of the old Jeff Hardy CM Punk match here. Jeff Hardy gets disqualified. We get Michelle McCool and Melina for the Women's Championship, 1.5 stars, so not great. John Cena and The Miz go 5 minutes and 39 seconds, and it's a dud, which
Jesus.
I don't remember this match ever happening. Like, this is, like, hoorah Miz. Chick Magnet Miz.
The best Miz.
Also, was this the best they could come up with for a feud for Cena at this point in time? Like, just have him wrestle The Miz for 5 minutes. But in the main event, I forgot this even happened. It's the never-ending feud between Randy Orton and Triple H. WWE Championship on the line, but interesting stipulation, 3 stages of hell.
Ooh.
And it doesn't say here what the 3 stages are, so I'll go into that surprised.
Yeah, nice. Little teaser.
But yeah, it seems like a real wacky pay-per-view at the Power Balance Pavilion.
Nice.
So yes, some solid options in the poll this week. Do you boys have anything to say before we sign off here?
No, let's get ready to shake it up with superstars.
Yeah, according to the sources, there may or may not be superstars being shaken up, or they might not. You never know. Chance, just card subject to change.
Plans change, bro.
TBC, yeah.
Well, do you have anything to say, Nat?
I mean, I'm just currently watching for the first time WWE Breaking Ground, and ZZ's my favourite wrestler.
Oh, shout out to ZZ, and shout out to William Shatner narrating that.
Yeah, Josh Brettle or the Yeti.
The Yeti.
Another Jerry Lynn kind of cat. And yeah, there's a lot of names you see, and it's cool. You see buddy Sammy Callahan.
Oh, boo.
I love Simon Crow.
He's a hacker, bro.
Hey, hack that Twitter account.
But yeah, go wrestling.
Well said. So that's all for this week on the podcast, and according to my sources, allegedly, you should stay hunky.